Hey there, and welcome to the People Who Help People podcast. This is the spot for HR and people ops pros who are all about building better businesses by putting people first. We chat with founders and experts who've been there, done that, and are generous enough to share what actually works. Thanks for listening, and we hope you enjoyed today's episode. Hello, everybody. Today I am happy to be speaking with Natalie McGill, President of HR Consulting at the Theodoros Group, TTG, about positioning for bigger deals without losing smaller clients, shifting the mix, and navigating the balance. At Theodoros Group, they bring a fresh perspective to HR consulting, M&A advisory, and direct hire recruitment. They help businesses scale smartly and sustainably, no matter their size, industry, or stage of growth. Welcome to the show, Natalie.
Thank you, Craddock. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, I'm happy to have you here. So tell me a little bit more about TTG and tell me more about the work that you do there.
Sure. The company started just over a year ago. Theodoros founded the company, and he had been very successful in his career doing direct hire and realized that he enjoyed so much building a team, watching his team members solve for business challenges and enhance their business acumen, that he felt the next step in his career was to start his own business.
Okay.
And from that, we've grown our direct hire division, our outsourced HRO division, as well as an advisory M&A practice.
Terrific. And you run which part?
I sit over both the HR consulting as well as the M&A divisions.
Got it. And what is it about your background that made you the perfect candidate for that responsibility?
Yeah. So I've spent about 25 years in my past working in the outsourced HR arena, largely under what's called a PEO, professional employer organization. I've had my own book of clients. I'm helping business owners solve their people, process, and systems challenges and
Okay.
had leadership roles. And it was really exciting to get in the ground floor of helping someone build a solution for business owners.
And how did you and Anthony know each other? Did he just say, I'm starting a company, come join me, or?
He is a master at LinkedIn recruiting.
Okay.
So he does all the sourcing for all of our internal staff. That is his magic, how he built his book of business and built such client loyalty, is finding the right people and the right synergies.
So you've been in business a little over a year, you said. So it must be gaining legs. And part of our topic today is positioning for bigger deals without losing smaller clients. So I saw when I was reading that you help small and medium-sized businesses. So there's how do you work through that balance? What was the moment you realized you needed to go after bigger deals?
So to start with a little history, on the direct hire side, he always focused on the small and medium-sized business, because on the search side, larger companies often have or want much more complicated contracts. They like to spread out the payment terms, so a net 45 or net 60. Well, when you're paying your recruiters monthly on their commission, spreading out those payment terms gets very painful. Whereas on the HRO side, large companies often realize the value that I can offload a project for certain hard dollar costs. I don't need to add that full-time equivalent person. I can get this project done with specialized expertise. And on the HR side, we're more easily able to navigate those larger contracts. And the way our commission structure is it works well. Those clients are often willing to pay the net 30 for our HR projects.
Got it. More smaller company focus on the direct hire side, more larger deals on your side of the business. Is that what I'm hearing?
So on our side, on the HR side and the MAA side, it's both small and medium-sized business as well as bigger companies. A lot more variety that we'll work with.
And tell me a little bit more about the M&A element of things. Do you favor the buy side, the sell side, or whatever the client needs?
Whatever the client needs. What we have found is, especially on the search side, I can't tell you how many times that we come across a candidate, and the candidate's like, I need to get out of my company. We were just acquired. Things are a mess. I'm not getting paid on time. I don't know who I report to. So we started building our M&A practice with the people, process, and systems in mind. So our senior M&A consultants all have an HR background, and they sit there throughout the whole transaction. And we white glove approach the brokers, the attorneys, the accountants, everybody that's needed. And then when that transaction closes, We are there to help do the people integration so that people get paid on time. They know who they report to. They may not like some of the changes, but at least we've done a lot to do the change management and get people prepared so that they know what's coming.
Sure. Was there anything in your career that prepared you to either empathize with those going through these transitions, or maybe you've gone through them yourself?
Both, actually. So I've had quite a few clients over the years where they would hire the company I work for because they wanted to sell their business. And so I'd help them do their pre-readiness and what they needed to do to get the HR house in order to prepare for the sale. Also assisted clients who were going through a sale transaction and letting them know that, hey, I'm your partner in this. If we can work together, there's certain things that happen and you're like, okay, he's getting ready to sell. There's kind of reports that they need, due diligence, and it goes much smoother when HR is included and you ask the questions that we need to know up front as opposed to the ink's dry now.
Yes.
And then on the flip side, I've been at organizations that were acquired. So I've experienced personally that how good change management can look and how poorly run change management looks.
There's the rub. So I noticed how you said get the HR side of the house in order, but through your comments, I'm also hearing a heavy bias towards it's got to work for all the people in the organization, not just the HR team and the technical requirements of the transition.
Yeah, I think it really comes down to planning what that transition is going to look like, knowing in advance where you have duplicates and what leadership is critical to making the transaction work. And when you've planned that in advance, and while it's not any fun to do a layoff, sometimes it is inevitable, or you know who you need to retain, so you've already put in those change management pieces in place to make sure you keep that top talent through the integration.
It is a critical piece because oftentimes there's all sorts of reasons why companies are bought and sold. Maintaining the talent that made that company something that ought to be acquired. Oftentimes acquisitions we're doing them because we want to acquire talent. So keeping that talent happy is a smart thing to invest in as we go. Okay,
Yes.
back to our topic, if I could. Positioning for bigger deals and shifting our mindset. So in this year plus that you've been helping Anthony establish the business and specifically establishing the HR consulting element, what were some of the things that you've worked on as you're positioning your team to go after, say, bigger deals along the way, navigating that balance?
Yeah. Well, outside the fact that this is the biggest deal is that Anthony went on his own to build his own company. It really comes down to when we were building our original service offerings and our ideal client profile, is keeping in mind that flexibility. What's scalable and what's not? What are we looking for? What kind of basic and essentials package does a lean, organization that has lower profit margins but still wants to invest versus companies with a little more spend? What products and services make sense for them where they can do a more strategic, more complicated project. And so it really helped us having that laid out at the outset.
Have you made changes as you go? Or obviously, it sounds like you did some good planning to set up your initial offer. What changes have you made?
So interesting is we know by experience and our statistics are showing that our best referral partners are past clients in your personal network. Nothing's better than when someone you've done business with before recommends you to someone they know. And we had a situation where someone within one of our networks did what we do an HR assessment, discovery call to find out what the gaps are, get buy-in if they want to solve for those gaps, and then we do a proposal. Well, the proposal came in too high for that particular business owner. We reworked it and did a second proposal. And then at the end of the day, we realized that this particular business owner just does not want to invest in his people. We had a really low price point, very affordable, spread out and wasn't much work that he needed. So we've now learned a lot better to ask up front what people's budget is and if they're willing to invest in their people. So when people ask us, what industry are you in? We say, well, we're industry agnostic, but we're looking for companies that want to invest in their people. If you're not looking to put aside at least a couple $1,000s to fix the compliance, then we aren't the right solution.
The very first podcast was with a professional, and the topic was learning to say no, right? Don't say yes to everything. And I like how you drew that line. You've got to be willing to invest in your people. Otherwise, well, we're just not the firm for you. That's a nice distinction. I like that. So talk to me a little bit about bigger clients versus smaller clients, communicating value to enterprise clients versus to those smaller ones. You've touched on it in some of your answers, but are there other ways you communicate your value differently?
Yeah. I think with bigger contracts, so things that have a lot more money, or maybe a bigger percentage of that company's HR people spend, are higher expectations. Higher expectations are more responsibility. And so you have to manage to those expectations. The other thing with a bigger deal or larger enterprise clients is you have multiple layers in the organization you may be working with. It's really easy to get into a trap where I work only with my day-to-day contact. I'm keeping them happy. Everything's hunky-dory. Well, they aren't the final decision maker. So with those deals, you need to make sure that you're keeping in the loop all the decision makers, the key stakeholders, and keeping a pulse on what their thoughts are and how you're performing, so you can get that referenceable client and you get the next project.
What's your favorite way to keep multiple stakeholders or decision makers informed as you go?
Finding out what their communication style is, but usually they're running lean. So finding ways to do regular email touch points so that we stay top of mind. And then also having them carve out time to meet periodically. And you make that part of the contract and perspective, the proposal and the contract up front, where, hey, we want to have regular touch points and make sure that we're on track with what you're looking for and getting their commitment to those regular cadence meetings.
That sounds well thought out. Quick question. Somebody suggested to me the other day doing video updates. Just grabbing my phone, talking to it, and just as if we were having a conversation, if I could catch you, and then sending that video file to that same stakeholder that we're, because none of us have time to read all of our emails. Sometimes a quick video message or voice message even could be equally, if not more effective. Have you tried that?
No, we have not. That's an interesting thought. I hadn't, we're just now starting to explore on LinkedIn if we want to do live broadcast and dropping videos. But I think that would also play into how does our contact consume their information or prefer. I think that would work really well with my husband's Gen Z daughter. She would probably prefer if I dropped a video rather than sending her a nice long text. That
Exactly.
probably speaks to her very, very well. So I think that's part of knowing your client is what is their preferred communication style. So I guess when a client asks me for that, I'll figure out how we record that and then get it dropped.
You should test it out. I'll admit I haven't tested it out yet, but I have a coach who's helping. I started my own business 6 weeks ago, much like Anthony a year ago, although it sounds like he's more experienced than I am. And my coach sends me audio messages, but I'll admit I read the transcript. I think one or two of them I listen to, but most of the time I just read the transcript. But it's about being adaptable. We have all got to adapt our style a little bit as we go.
It goes to that communication style. They have some outside sales channel partners where they send me the voice text. And I think what it is, it's just easier for them in the way their brain is wired.
Okay.
That saying what they want to say comes back through clearer and more concise than when they type it out.
Got it. So are you suggesting that my brain and your brain may not yet be wired that way?
I think so.
I think so too. And I'm trying to rewire, but sometimes, when it's been wired a certain way for so long, it's learning new tricks. Speaking of newer technology, or let's talk about systems. Let's talk about maybe any tools that you use or rely on that are making it easier for you to deliver your services, or maybe for your clients to work through some of those changes that you mentioned earlier. You yourself mentioned people process tools. What are your thoughts on tools nowadays? Favorite ones, or anything that you've tried recently that you say, I really like that?
Yeah. So we leverage a project management software system, and being new or building it out. And that isn't how my brain has traditionally been wired. But we got a contract where it clicked. We had very definite things we needed to accomplish every month for 6 months. And then we built that out. What's also interesting is by doing that, we also flipped up how we do our proposals. So it comes across the same way. Here are the hours we need to get your work done. And this is how we're going to spend those hours each month. And it's been great because it makes giving the weekly updates to the client much smoother. We have a monthly touch point. We go through it. It's all recorded in the system. We're now just trying to get it look pretty so that we can give clients access to it eventually. But for now, that's been the biggest thing, is learning how to leverage project management software. As HR, we don't tend to think in terms of project management and the Gantt chart. I mean, we know how to perform to it, but how do you actually build it and apply that to doing a handbook or building out a company's HR function?
Got it. So I love case studies where people say, this is working for us, but then I always regret that I didn't ask the question, which tool was that? So do you feel confident enough in the tool to share which one you're using?
Absolutely. It's called Wrike, WRIKE. And it's built as a project management software that has capabilities where you can evolve it into a CRM, and a bunch of other things that we are still learning and exploring.
Got it. So it sounds like for now you're using it for both project management and proposals as well.
It's been really helpful in our M&A division, that is much more process driven and does have a lot of contingencies in managing a transaction.
I find from past experience it works well when your proposal can just be flipped into a project. Otherwise,
Yes.
somebody sells the work and then here you are over here, Mr. Project Manager, Mrs. Project Manager, going, why did they commit to that? So it's nice that the two are tied together. It's nice that they're tied
Yes.
together. Terrific. Any other tools or workflows that you'd say have made a big difference for you? And or I'm going to sneak in a question. Are you using AI?
So we do use a lot of AI.
Okay.
We leverage it a couple of different ways. My favorite way to use it is if I have a difficult employee situation, or it's complicated, or I need to get my not so nice words in my head put into more pleasant text. So I love using AI to word letters. It comes up with different phrases. We also use it in terms of, a lot of times we need to blind copy a resume to a client. So we need to take out the company name, the employee, the candidate's name, and make it just generic. And so we've written a macro and use AI for that. And it spits out the resume much faster than a human reformatting it. And then learning to leverage things like Zapier, which is an AI tool to try and automate some processes or do some integration between two platforms.
Terrific. I'm going to ask you a techie question because you mentioned Zapier. Who does your Zapier integrations?
We haven't gotten that far. It's us. It's whoever wants the integration.
Whoever wants to take it on.
Whoever wants to tackle it.
Yeah, for those who are listening that don't know what Zapier is, and I won't claim that I'm a Zapier expert, but it does just what Natalie said. It connects different systems together, and there's these things that we call APIs, which are just the connection points, so that if you know that I want to connect my email to my calendar to my project plan or whatever, chances are there's a Zapier integration or a workflow that you can build enabled by a tool like Zapier to connect those together. And then it's just a case of nowadays more and more things are low code, no code. So oftentimes, as you said, whoever wants to take it on can probably watch a video, learn Zapier, and learn how to connect two systems together. And suddenly workflows are more automated than they were before. So I applaud you, Natalie. I applaud the company for finding new ways, experimenting with new ways, such as reformatting a resume or helping us deal with those difficult employee situations, or even dipping our toe in the water of Zapier integrations as we go. So along the way, as you've been working from, so let's say that startup mode into where you are today, is there anything that sticks out in your mind, like, if I had to do that over again, I might do it differently? Was there any mistakes you made along the way, and what did they teach you?
So I think the biggest was just learning about how to ask those questions about budget. That was really top of mind. I think a big challenge is when you're growing is how you continue to do your prospecting and selling. You're maintaining your service level with your clients and building out new products and services because you know there's a need and that you're going to probably get that win that proposal. And so blocking becomes much more important. I'm not very good at it, so I wish I had built that skill years ago when it was first told to me, and I didn't. Because the 2020 hindsight, I wish I'd learned more about or practice time blocking and protecting my time. I get very used to being in the whirlwind in the day to day with lots of client issues and things happening. It's a value add to have done that.
Got it. So there's there's a mistake or a lesson learned in there somewhere, and I won't pick at that scab at all. But you just skipped right to the what will I do a little bit differently, and or what's on my list of things to improve. We all need to do that. We all need to be better at and protecting our time. And like you said, especially as a president of the HR consulting team, you've got team members out there delivering. As tempting as it is to dive in and help every client with every problem, we've got to be comfortable passing the ball to others on our team, blocking our time, and continuing to do those client relationship things, that prospecting, the servicing, building out your offerings that you mentioned. Great advice. Is there any advice that you would give to somebody who has yet to travel the road that you have, looking to scale up their business without losing touch with their core audience?
I think it's about building your brand and knowing what you stand for. And in that, when you build your brand, you build your network. And that network is such a valuable piece. That's what helps you to grow. All of our first clients were from our personal network and were prior clients. So it's easy to keep in touch with them because they've been clients before for years. You already have a relationship, built that trust and rapport. So it's easy to keep in touch with them. And so keep in touch with your network. I had a leader once who used to talk about today. And what that was for him was every day he would reach out to 2 people in his network. And whatever crossed his mind or was on his heart. And that's how he kept his network alive. Was just making that commitment. The first 20 minutes of his day, he does his two outreaches. So I think everyone has a couple of different tips and tricks, but I think that keeping that foundation, and then also you're always building your network that way, and you're keeping top of mind. From a practical standpoint, internally, we do also have standards about keeping in contact on a regular basis with our clients, prospects, especially the candidates, to keep them top of mind to work with us and keep them fresh and find out where they are in their careers.
Terrific. I like that 2 a day today. Do you practice that every day?
No, I don't do a good job of it.
But maybe that goes back to that time blocking. Maybe we both need to do a time block for 2 a day today. I love the idea that your company is placing candidates, and oftentimes those candidates take roles in organizations that might come back and need us for some M&A help or some other change management assistance, and staying in touch with the candidates and your network. And as we talked about the shift of going from smaller deals to bigger clients, many times bigger clients come from folks we've worked with in our past, either as candidates or in those smaller companies. So great message. Always stay in touch with your network. Always build your network. Anything else that you want to share today, Natalie, before we wrap up?
Not that I can think of.
Okay, terrific. Well, Natalie, I've enjoyed talking to you. If others that are listening to this would like to reach out and be part of your network, or maybe discuss something they heard, maybe they're working through a growth challenge of their own, what's the best way to get in touch?
Absolutely. You can reach me via email at Natalie, Natalie, M as in McGill, at ttgway.com. We also have a chat bot on our website of ttgway.com. Or, of course, I'm very active on LinkedIn as well. And we really believe in providing an hour HR assessment for our contacts. So if any of your listeners want to have a no-cost checkup, make sure that they're doing things correctly. It can be lonely being an HR person, or if a business owner wants to see how his function is working, happy to offer them all of no cost 1 hour.
Terrific. Okay, you've given us lots of ways to get in touch, and you slipped one by me there. Chatbot on our website. I saw that chatbot and it caught me a little bit by surprise. Can you tell me a little bit about when what made you choose to put a chatbot on your website, and what's been the positive outcome from that?
So we wanted something that was a lot more interactive than just a contact us form.
Okay.
And that delved into a little more information, and it's a little more modern. And the chatbot is definitely more modern than, hey, fill out this form and it goes into a deep hole. We have found, though, it's a great way to capture candidates who are looking for work. And it's a much faster way for them to get information to us than LinkedIn, especially for people looking for work. It's much more successful for us. And then for our other lines in terms of M&A or HR, is if someone does choose, it's there as well.
So it's a terrific replacement for the traditional, more static form that you fill out and you hit submit and go somewhere. Again, the same question. What tool are you using to set that up? Do you know?
I do not know. We use a marketing firm that helped build it. They're by the name of Catalyst. They built it. The great news is that we are large enough that our VP of Sales and Marketing and our marketing manager know all those details, and I don't have to pay attention.
That's quite all right. The inner geek in me, it caught my eye, and I said, "Oh, I like that," because I'm challenged with my own business. That's the next step for me. I need to add something where people can get in touch with me, and I really like how you're using that interactive chatbot to have folks connect with you. I think that's my takeaway from today. Two takeaways: that and two a day today. So, Natalie, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. I wish you well as you continue to build your business going forward.
Thank you so much, Craig. I enjoyed being on the show.
Okay, thanks, Natalie.